Six here with another Build-A-Figure review, this time of the DCUC Nekron Build-A-Figure. So here you go. So if you guys are familiar with my channel, you'll probably know I'm a big Build-A-Figure fan. I absolutely love the idea of Build-A-Figures, and even if a Build-A-Figure came out that, I really just don't even like, or I wouldn't buy him in a regular pack, because he's a Build-A-Figure, I'll build him. I absolutely love him. This one took me some time to build. This came out early 2012, and I completed it early 2013. So it took me about a year to build, and that's purely because I wasn't a big fan of the characters in the wave. The only one that I wanted was Sinestro, which I did purchase, which got me the head, and the rest of the parts I had to buy separately, or buy figures and sell the figures just to keep the parts. So that's why it took me so long to build this. So now on to the actual review of Nekron. Nekron is of course a Black Lantern member, and overall very cool. So first of all, just going over the sculpt here. As you can see in this face, it's extremely cool. I really want to talk about the face, so let me move the camera up. Okay, so look at this face sculpt. Extremely well done. Absolutely love this face sculpt. It's very comic looking to me, like all the score marks. It looks like it's a drawing that, just popped right out of the book. Really love it. Love the way they designed the face, and I love the Black Lantern symbol on his forehead. Looks extremely cool. Of course, he has a skeleton-like look in the face. As you can see, it's very nicely done. The blue very much stands out and I think looks awesome. The face sculpt is ideal. Don't see anything wrong with it. Absolutely love it. Then we go down into the body. Of course, you've got his like little dog collar almost. It's got little like hinges where the chains hang off. The chains are real metal and are real chains, which is just really awesome. They're real chains, which is great. For posing, it works out great because they fall the way that they should fall by gravity, instead of just having them being stuck in place, which is good. I love his little insides, his organs, or his heart in there, looking very cool, and was able to keep it hollow that way, so that looks nice. The scoring, the comic book look continues throughout his skin. I absolutely love it. His jacket's pretty cool. Mine has a couple problems on it, like, that little mark up there. I don't know how that's supposed to actually be in, little mark there. Those might be they might be supposed to be there, but I don't know, they look a little weird to me. The jacket and everything's done really well. As far as the arms, they're very cool, as you can see here. As I said, the detail continues, and then you've got the two hands and everything, very nice. His kind of cloak or coat continues, and at the bottom of it, it's very cool. Love the way that they did the painting there. Gave it a really nice look at the end and all the holes in it and everything. The legs are very nicely done. They're pretty cool. I do like them. Lots of decent articulation, and overall extremely nice. He is an extremely tall Build-A-Figure. I will get into size comparison later. The only big problem that I have with this guy is he doesn't come with his staff, his death staff, I don't know what you call that, but it's, the staff with the huge knife at the end. And I'm almost 100% sure that he was supposed to come with that, because in the first pictures of him, back late 2011 when we first saw pictures of him, all the pictures that I saw at least had that staff with him. And then all of a sudden he just didn't come with it. I was very surprised, and both of his hands are shaped in the circle. This is absolutely supposed to hold it, and this side is also able to hold it too. So this guy was absolutely meant to have the staff, and for him not to come with it makes him quite boring. He is a boring Build-A-Figure in my opinion. There's so many other more interesting Build-A-Figures than this one. This one, great look, great sculpt, but there's nothing really to do with him. I mean, his hands, they're not like fists, so you can't have him like punching somebody. You can't really have him hold anything because he doesn't have the staff. So really, there's not a lot of good poses you can put him in, because the hands are absolutely meant to be holding something, and there's nothing that they're holding with. So it feels like this is an incomplete figure, and I don't know what the reason was that they didn't give him the staff. If you guys know, please let me know. I'd absolutely love to know. But I have to assume it's just price. I'm sure that they just wanted to save some money, so they didn't bring out the staff. It is quite disappointing. Would have really loved to have it. I mean, it must not cost that much extra because with the Marvel, with their competitor pretty much, they came out with their Series 1 in the beginning of 2012 of Marvel Legends with Terrax, and he came with his staff, so no idea why he didn't come with it. But if you guys have any information, I'd love to hear. Overall, he's extremely cool. Articulation is also great. And also paint's really nice. There's nothing really too much to say about it because they're all very dark colors and everything, but the paint that's done is done very nicely. As far as articulation, it is great. His head sculpt's really nice. He can't really look up, but he can look down quite far, which is impressive. And just looking at it from the side, it doesn't look like his neck would have that much range of movement. So I am pretty surprised to see his head go down that far. It doesn't look like it should be able to, but it does, which is great. Ball hinge shoulders with bicep swivel. Double hinge elbows. This double hinge is my favorite type. It can absolutely have the forearm touch the bicep by bending it all the way. Look at that. Absolutely wonderful. It can probably bend even some more. I'm a big fan of that. The one problem with probably just mine though is that this side, it just looks like the plastic's off of it a little bit, which is a real shame. This arm caused me some problems when I got it. The hinge right here that allows it to go up would not move for me whatsoever. I had to do the warm water and then try to move it. It would not work. I had to use a hair dryer, put it up against the wall, and really just jam it to get it to move. And I was 100% sure that I was going to break it, but it actually just moved instead of breaking, which was impressive. But so that's a shame. This arm just it didn't turn out great. I mean, but now it fits in perfectly though, so there's no problems anymore. And as I said, the double hinge elbows. Look at that! I absolutely love the double hinge elbows that can bend that much, and you can put him in some cool poses because of that. Just there's not really a pose that's good for him. He's got hinge swivel wrist, which work really well. The swivel's a little tight, but the hinge works extremely well. He's got a swivel waist, but because of the way that his coat kind of sits in there, turning it might be a little difficult. He's got a hinge, double hinges at the legs, the DC hinge that allows you to go out and out like that. Not my favorite. I prefer the ball hinge, but it still works. He's got a bicep swivel at the lower bicep, or sorry, thigh swivel at the lower thigh. Double hinge knees, which is great, but because of this cloak, you know, there's not a whole lot that you can do with that double hinge, but it still is nice that he has it. And then hinge ankles that don't really go up very much, but they do go down quite far. So overall, the articulation is of pretty much the highest grade. There's really no problems. Of course, I mean, DC usually does an ab crunch. Obvious reasons they didn't put an ab crunch in. Don't fault them for that whatsoever. But overall, he's cool. I would have definitely liked to see the staff. That is my major complaint with it. But other than that, not too much that you can complain with. Let's do some comparisons with the Black Lanterns. Here he is with my other Black Lanterns. As you can see, he towers over them. One thing that's very cool and interesting about this figure that separates him from other Build-A-Figures that are more interesting is that he's tall. He's an extremely tall figure, one of my tallest Build-A-Figures. I've got about 15 Build-A-Figures, and I think that he's the tallest under Parallax. Parallax is, of course, the widest and the tallest, but I think that this guy is probably the next place. The only one that I'm is Onslaught, but I don't think Onslaught can beat him. But overall, he's extremely tall, which is really nice, and it sets him apart because he is, like I've said, a boring Build-A-Figure. He's a really nice figure himself, but as for a Build-A-Figure, I mean, there's just so much more interesting characters and interesting sculpts that fit their look. Like, the open hands are the biggest problem with this guy. Like I've said, he feels like he's missing something, and that's the biggest problem. But now let's compare him to a couple Build-A-Figures. Here he is with the DC Build-A-Figure Stell and the Build-A-Figure Bane. As you can see, he's extremely tall. As far as Bane and him, he's taller in about 2 inches. I'd say that he's about 2 inches taller than Bane. As far as Stell here, he is taller, but Stell does have, is it Steel or Stell? I think it's Stell, but he does have a bent knee, and so if you stretch out his legs completely, he's probably about the same height, but with the slight bent knee that Stell has, Nekron is taller than him. Overall, I really, like I've said, I really am a fan of how tall he is. It's very cool, and it's pretty accurate if I'm not mistaken. I don't know too much about this character, but he is tall from what I know, so overall I really do like his size, and he looked really nice with the others. I mean, you can tell that he's a Build-A-Figure. Like Bane here, if you didn't know anything about, you know, DC, he'd be a very questionable Build-A-Figure because he's not that big. But as far as Nekron, I mean, he's definitely going to be on the back of your shelf. There's there's very few people that are taller than him, so he'll be at the back. You'll know he's a Build-A-Figure. Overall, so I do really like his size. So overall, this Nekron figure is very cool. The sculpting is great. The articulation is great. The paint is as good as it gets. There's nothing fantastic, but there's nothing bad about it, so there's no complaints. There's just nothing too great. And he's a nice size. He's very tall, very slender, but very tall. And overall, he's extremely cool. I wish that they either just went and gave him the staff, and everybody would be really happy, or they didn't, and they let you know that they weren't going to, you know? They give him, you know, the fist hands, or either, you know, open hands, but not holding hands for something that he doesn't have, because that really hinders him. It makes him very hard to pose because he's got these circle hands. Like, what kind of position do you put a hand like that in? This is the best thing I could come up with. So I would have really liked either some nice posed hands or just have him come with a staff. I think he would look awesome with the staff, and they made a big mistake by not giving it to him. But overall, it's a nice Build-A-Figure, not too expensive one. He's not a very rare one. You can buy him for, you know, like $35 on eBay complete. But overall, he's really cool. He's worth it. If you're really wondering and debating whether to get him, I'd say just go ahead. He's very nice, and I am very happy that I built him. So there you go. That's my very review of the DC Universe, 2012 Wave 1 Build-A-Figure Nekron. Thanks for watching.